Let us begin. Today, take as if we are in a court of session on the first date of hearing regarding a murder case trial. Murder case trial is offense punishable under section 302 IPC. The first schedule of the Code of Criminal Procedure classifies this offense as an offense triable by a court of sessions. The Code of Criminal Procedure provides that the case may be upon a complaint or on a police file is to be initially for proceedings in the court of a magistrate, and it is only of the commitment of the case under section 209 of the Code of Criminal Procedure that case reaches a court of session. The first date of hearing in the court of sessions in such trial is under chapter 18 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. Section 2225 provides that this case is to be conducted by a public prosecutor. As such, public prosecutor and the defense counsel will be two officers of the court, and the court is presided by a sessions judge. So a presiding officer of the court, judge, sessions judge, the public prosecutor who is under duty responsibility to conduct the prosecution case, and the accused naturally with his counsel to defend him or to put up his case. Therefore, the environment in the court on this first date of hearing of the offense of a murder, which under section 302 IPC provides death sentence as well. Death sentence or a life imprisonment. Therefore, as here in this offense, death sentence is a lawful sentence, it will amount to that during this trial, the procedurally it is permissible to give a punishment of a death. It would mean that here life can be deprived to citizen of India under the procedure established by law. Therefore, Article 21 of the Constitution of India, which provides protection of life and personal liberty, has only one condition, that this deprivation can be according to procedure established by law. Indian Penal Code section 302 provides punishment for murder, means whoever commits murder shall be punished with death or life imprisonment. Therefore, the Constitution of India puts a restriction, and this restriction is removed by the Indian Penal Code, and this simply is a lawful punishment permissible, but here there is no procedure. The procedure is provided in the Code of Criminal Procedure. Therefore, the Code of Criminal Procedure is constitutionally sanctioned procedure. Therefore, the sanctity of the procedure is parallel to the sanctity of the sanctions of the Constitution of India. This being the sanction behind the procedure, and procedure being established by the Parliament of India, the legislature authorized under the Constitution of India itself. It on the face of it puts enough, impresses enough upon each functionary. The in fact, three individuals, a session judge, a public prosecutor, and the defense counsel. Now, these three together constitute a court, though the public prosecutor and the defense counsel are designated as officers of the court, and the judge is designated as presiding judge of the court. Therefore, these three individuals are not only morally but legally and constitutionally under obligation, under solemn obligation, that they will function in such an institutionalized way that the individualized functioning, the individual instruments of the functioning, or the individuals as such, though not a institution, but they have to act and conduct as that this and act and conduct shall integrally gets transformed as an institutional act. So from here itself, we can very well infer that the environment in the courtroom is to be of the sanctity of the institutional expectations of the court. And for it, if any of these three individuals is not up to the expectation, then not only they are immoral, not only they are illegal, but they themselves also at some point of time even may become responsible for commission of an offense of conducting the proceedings, discharging the responsibilities not in accordance with law as well. Now, the terms which we shall have a concentrative look is number one, life, number two, death, and then the terms are to be taken as these are defined. Life and death as such are not defined. So it is here where naturally many argumentative domain comes into play. There is a wide field in which many views, many opinions, many theories can be built around the words life and death. In fact, life and death are the pair of words which become the reservoir of the whole philosophy, the whole knowledge, the whole depth of reach of human mind, and everything around it. But when we go to Indian Penal Code, it in its sections 45 and 46 gives definition or defines. Word life denotes life of human being unless the contrary appears from the context. So it is here in the context of a murder trial, we are concerned, we are legally devoted only for life of a human being. And the word death as well in the context means death of human being. But life as such or death as such are not defined. The individuals get purified in their thoughts, actions, philosophies by having full view of the reservoir of the values which make life and the reservoir of values which become death. Death is a purifying philosophically. Therefore, the judge of a court, the public prosecutor, and the defense counsel shall always remind themselves that the death is a natural institution which purifies, and they also have to purify their minds, thoughts, philosophies, and all that. And they have to remind themselves that here they, as individuals, have to institutionalize as a court of law, and court is to function as per the procedure established by law. Therefore, whatever may be their individual philosophy, whatever may be their individual thoughts, whatever they may be individual priorities, whatever they may be their individual limitations, those all have to be set aside, and they have to function institutionally as officers of the court. All the three are officers of the court, and all of them have to conduct as an institution. Now let us glimpse section 226 again. Section 226 of the Code of Criminal Procedure provides that case is to be opened. It is to be opened, and it is to be opened by a public prosecutor. And opening is to be with respect to two aspects: charge and the evidence. Now let us see what are the expectations of the ingredients of section 300 IPC, where offense of murder is defined. The legal definition given in section 300 IPC is the definition of a murder. Now see, each and every word, each and every comma, each and every sentence, each and every phrase, and the composite meanings thereof are to be very strictly construed, as here death is going to be sanctioned punishment. Now section 300 reads, it designates murder. Therefore, when we know that how the form of the charge is to be there, this word written murder would automatically imply that it is covering everything of section 300. So word murder is not to be used loose. It is a very strict, defined legislative word. It says now, first word starts is except, means we have to be careful what is not to come within this definition. Except in cases hereinafter exempted. The word here is hereinafter. That means in this very section itself, there are exemptions. These exemptions as such exclude for being covered within the definition of a murder, charge of a murder, except in cases hereinafter accepted. Culpable homicide is murder. If things doesn't come within those exceptions, then the culpable homicide, the word used is culpable, means punishable. Homicide is taking a death of a human being. So we shall again have a proper stress upon the words culpable and homicide. So Here the definition is going to be culpable homicide. That means when we had initially said that death is not defined, then we have to now revisit our that impression that there is no definition of death given in IPC. No, the death is now being approached as an homicide. Therefore, the offense of murder is an offense of the category of homicide. Now, this homicide includes two things, human being as well and the death as well. Therefore, in our referencer, we shall give detailed expression for this word homicide, and culpable means punishable. Culpable word also should be given proper stress, but the more stress is to be upon the homicide. Now it becomes a definition. Culpable is murder. Then it is continued. If so, culpable homicide will be a murder if the act by which the death is caused, so the death is to be caused by certain act. We have to have a pause here and take note that the word act itself has been defined. An act includes omissions. Therefore, when death is caused by an act, it also would mean when death is caused by omission. So let us try to read this definition again. Except in the cases hereinafter accepted, culpable homicide is murder if the act by which the death is caused is done with the intention of causing death. So here the act which includes omission and which on the face of it may appear to be, and generally it appears to be, generally it is taken like that, a physical act. Then this physical act or omission is caused and a result is done with the intention of causing death. Therefore, here the word intention comes in, and intention takes us to mind, to a mensa rea. Therefore, the death caused by act or omission, which is not having a mensa rea behind it, when there is no intention for it. So we have to add this word in our referencer, the intention. It should be expressed fully. We have to make a complete research about this word intention. Now, intention will take us to mind, but knowledge also takes us to mind. So what is the difference between the knowledge because of mind and intention because of a mind? So the intention is to be specifically glimpsed, to be specifically imbibed for its values and virtues as to distinguishable from the knowledge. So when the word mensa rea will come in, then we have to be cautious that mind is a very complex phenomenon. Mind is an organ which is within a physical body, and mind acts only through senses organs. Therefore, the acts omission to be attributed being done with an intention will require that we have to be very clear and we have to distinguish it well. We have to demarcate it specifically as to what steps, processes within the mind, reflecting through senses, will come within the pool of a knowledge, and which of them will come within the pool of intention. So the first category of the acts and omissions which are being taken as commission of murder is which act of death is having an intention of causing death. But when we go to this second clause, then it says if it is done with the intention of causing such bodily injury. Now, in the first clause it said death is caused, death is done, and the intention is the causing of death. However, in the second clause, it is mentioned that act or omission is done with the intention, but for causing bodily injury. Now, here the intention is to cause bodily injury. Intention here is not to cause death. However, such bodily injury as the offender knows. Now, intention is to cause a bodily injury, and simultaneously it is within the knowledge of the offender that it is likely to cause death or it is going to harm. Even then it is taken as a murder. So we have to be very specific as to the death having been caused. It is to be caused of a human being. It is caused by act or omission of the offender. An act or omission of the offender is accompanied by intention. In the first stage, intention is to cause death. However, in the second stage, intention is to cause bodily injury. Intention is not to cause death. Intention is to cause bodily injury. But the offender has a knowledge that the injury which he is intending to cause is likely to cause death. Means it may not be that in all probability that death will happen. His knowledge is only as that the injury which he is intending to cause and which is causing is of such category that it is likely to cause death. So if the knowledge is that it may not cause death, it's a different situation. So it is likely to cause death. I am stopping here in today's session after these two classes. And why I am stopping here? Because I here want to impress that on the first date of hearing, when the public prosecutor will open the case, then we have to be specific. We have to fix him that whether he's coming under class 1 or under class 2, because we have to be specific. The murder is under class 1, murder is also under class 2, then there are third and fourth clauses as well, and there are exceptions as well. Therefore, the first date of hearing, when case is opened, in fact, that is the initial foundational stage where there should be a clear understanding, there should be real projection as to how this trial is to unfold and what precisely are going to be the different bricks of this foundation. Therefore, the presiding judge, the public prosecutor, the private counsel are under solemn and legal and moral duty that they should come fully prepared with their file. Then the IPC, Indian Penal Code provisions, then the Code of Criminal Procedure provisions, and the Indian Evidence Act provisions, all shall be well explored provisions. And so these bare acts, along with the case file, along with the case law, should be fully equipped form available with all three of them. And what I always put it is, the courts are open. Anybody can be present there. And if anybody present finds that environment is not Solomon, then take it one of the three is culpable. One of the three has not read the file. One of the three is not pure in mind. One of three is not really sincerely performing his duty. He is under oath, under the constitutional oath, to provide the Solomon atmosphere which will be reflected, and it cannot be artificially created. Therefore, from the conduct, it will be well evident. And that is why it is at present being thought that the courtroom should be under the scanners. It shall be videographed. So the court is open. The entire environment has to be Solomon. It will be Solomon only if the presiding judge, the public prosecutor, and the defense counsel are sincere, dedicated, faithful to the responsibilities cast upon them by the Constitution and morally by their respective clients. Each one of them is paid. Even if it is a free legal aid counsel, he will get some money. Public prosecutor gets a pay. The presiding judge as well gets a pay. So each one is paid. If he is not Solomon, sincere in performance, then certainly he is answerable to society, to law, and to the God. Thank you very much. Yes.
Very interesting, sir. There are certain questions I think which will be covered during the progress of the study.
Yes, certainly.
So I think it will be premature to ask certain questions because the thought which is running into my mind is I think will be addressed in the times to come, because
my sincere advice is pen them down, put them in writing, share with us all so that we know it, what are the queries, and then precise answers could be shared. So each one of us shall pen down the queries, suggestions, or information, and let us share all the experience of each one of us. Thank you very much. The next day, in the next session, we'll be continuing with the definition of Section 300 murder IPC.